Welcome to Money Talks with Cathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is set to appear before the International Criminal Court today. Investors and analysts weigh in on the political risk premium. U.S. President Donald Trump vows 200% tariffs on EU wines, ramping up trade tensions. And in our Women Who Lead, we shine the light on an all-Filipino team, bringing world-class live shows to the Philippines. International Criminal Court has set the initial appearance of former President Rodrigo Duterte before the pre-trial chamber at 2 p.m. today, March 14th, 9 p.m. Manila time. The proceedings can be viewed on the ICC website with a 30-minute delay. One News anchor Gretchen Ho is in The Hague in the Netherlands, and here's her report.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte gave signs of life through the Philippine Embassy in The Hague, and here is the latest. In a social media post, the embassy said that Duterte, through a call with a consular officer, requested for assistance from the embassy for a visit by his legal counsel and family member. Duterte was finally able to get on the phone with Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, who serves as his legal counsel. Earlier in the day, Medialdea tried to get inside the Chavinigan prison, but came out saying there was no Rodrigo Duterte to be found.
And we are told that there is no President Duterte inside the facility. We are at a loss of this time, and lokohan na to. I think this is part of their grand plan, no? To kidnap the president.
This was a claim that the International Criminal Court immediately refuted, saying that the president had gone through a medical checkup, which was standard procedure for all suspects under custody. The ICC also confirmed that the former president is now inside the United Nations Detention Unit, where suspects on pre-trial and trial stay.
Itong nilalakad ko ngayon, ito yung pagitan ng ICC office na nandoon at yung detention center na nandito. So it's about a kilometer-long walk.
Supporters of Rodrigo Duterte from different parts of Europe braved the cold and rain outside the penitentiary.
Rely lang ako sa Google Map ko para hanapin ang ICC. Nakakalungkot lang kasi sana mayroon tayong kahit pa paano transparency sa nangyayari.
Saan po kayo galing?
Belgium po.
Ilang hours kayo?
From train from coming here 2 hours.
Although still quite far off, Attorney Gilbert Andres, lawyer for the victims of extrajudicial killings or EJKs, says that the victims are ready if and when they're called by prosecution to testify. If the legal team of former President Duterte does request for an interim release in the near future, he says they will oppose it.
Based on substance, we will oppose it. And in fact, we're against it because we think that the security of the witnesses as well as the victims will be well protected if the accused or the suspect is within the custody of the ICC.
Over the past 24 hours, we've asked experts in Asia and in the Philippines how Duterte's arrest might impact the markets and the economy. While the jury is still out with the elections, less than 2 months away, their message is clear. Any negative impact is temporary and minimal.
We need a critical civil society, okay? A civil society that is capable of, what shall we say, critical thinking, okay? That civil society which has the capacity to screen out and discern between actual political noise and the noise that can disturb markets and upset economic growth. We have to make sure that governance remains in good hands and is done based on established rules and protocols.
From an economic point of view, I guess this will undoubtedly affect the so-called political risk premium that investors, compute and look at when they have to make decisions about their portfolio and direct investments. The question really is how much of an impact will it have? It's early days. We'll have to wait and see what kind of domestic response evolves with the midterm elections and so on. But I think at this stage, it's safe to say economically, it's unlikely to be a big factor.
Let's get you up to speed now on how the Philippine markets have started trading in the first 10 minutes on this final workday of the week. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index is up by about 0.1% at 6,251. So that's a second day of gains. The index bounced back Thursday after its 2 straight days of decline. Let's take a look at the Philippine peso and see how that's opened in the past hour. It's opened slightly stronger at 57.35 to the dollar. The peso closed yesterday flat at 57.36 pesos against the greenback. Our guest says for the first time in 2 years, the team is bullish on Philippine equities with a target price of 7,600 for the PSCI. With us now for more is Kyle Garcia of the Institutional Research Team at First Metro Securities. So good to see you, Kyle. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Cathy. Thanks for having First Metro.
All right, so where have you been all along? You've been rotating out of which assets then in favor of equities?
Yeah, so for the past 2 years, we have been defensive in the market. We had a 6-7 call for those 2 years, and we focused on defensive names that have dividend yields. And as a stock brokerage, we even suggested bonds. But as we turn more bullish this year, we think it's time. It's time to purchase your risk assets, your what we call intake glamour names, so the big caps, the banks, some property names, as well as the conglos, and even retailers.
You know, I'm loving the spirit here, Kyle, because when you take a look at that chart there that we just shown, PSCI has been on a decline since the start of the year. It's one for the courageous investors to get into that, but you can see that bouncing just above and below 6,200 for the most part, and you're saying that now is the time to get in. Why?
Well, there's a lot of good news that's definitely coming in the market. We have a strong growth story, but what we would like to zero down in is the current valuations are very, very attractive. So if you look at the equity risk premium against the US 10-year and the Philippine 10-year, it's about 600 basis points and 400 basis points respectively, right? And these reflect almost crisis levels evaluations. But if you look at the economy right now, it's good. There's nothing to be spooked about, and that's why it's really time to get in. Valuations are attractive.
Okay, you've talked about the equity risk premium, but what about the political risk, Kyle? You've picked quite an interesting time. The heat is on with just less than 2 months to the midterm elections, and the battle between the two powerful political dynasties has escalated with Duterte's arrests. So how are you and the team assessing the political risk premium by far?
Yes, interesting times in the market. But these political noise create a lot of uncertainty, which we have a lot of. There's an initial reaction of the market, as you can see earlier in the week. There was a big decline, but if you look at what's been happening also in the past few days, prices have normalized. We've actually seen net foreign inflows already, and we think as these political noise disappears, we focus more on the fundamentals of the economy, which we think there's a lot of good news that hasn't been priced in yet.
Okay, 30 seconds, Kyle. What are you investing in? Which sectors?
Oh, so which sectors? So for this one, we like retailers. We like some property names. We like SM, the banks also. There are big cap names. As we rally, focus on those.
All right, we hear you, and we hear the optimism there. Thank you so much, Kyle Garcia of First Metro Securities Live. And you're watching Money Talks here on One News. Coming up, U.S. President Trump threatens 200% tariffs on European wines and champagne. And as the Philippines ready for AI first, software company Boomi weighs in. Catch that conversation after the break. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. U.S. President Donald Trump escalates his trade war with the European Union after threatening to impose a 200% tariff on imports of wine, champagne, and other alcoholic beverages. Trump made the announcement Thursday in a Truth Social post to retaliate the EU's decision to put a 50% levy on American whiskey. The levy served as EU's response to the 25% duties on steel and aluminum imports that took effect this week. European alcohol producers say the 200% tariff would effectively close the U.S. market. The region has exported over $5 billion worth of alcoholic beverages. Let's take a look at the global markets as the week comes to a close. U.S. markets have suffered another day of losses over Trump's new tariff threats. The Dow, the S&P 500 down over 1%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ declined nearly 2%. And with this, the S&P is now in correction territory, declining by over 10% from its week just 1 month ago. This is the S&P's 11th correction since the 2008 financial crisis. The NASDAQ earlier entered into correction just as well. The tech-heavy index now falls by roughly 14%. Russell 2000 that tracks smaller companies nearing a bear market. It has nosedived by 18% from its peak last November. Let's take a look at the futures market, see what that's indicating in a couple of hours. The U.S. markets are opening later on, looking like a higher open across the board there in New York, with the Dow up by about 0.5%, S&P rising by 0.6%, and the NASDAQ climbing by 0.8%. Trump's escalating trade war sends Asian markets in the mix. This Friday, take a look at the markets, seeing Australia's ASX 200 up by about 0.4%, South Korea's Kospi and Japan's Nikkei 225 flat at the open, though I'm seeing the Kospi now down a touch, along with the Nikkei. 60 to 70% of organizations in the Asia Pacific are still dark, siloed businesses that don't know to get relevant, actionable outcomes from their data, says global software as a service company Boomi. With us now for more is Boomi Asia Pacific Japan Chief Technology Officer David Ireki. Good to have you here, David, and welcome to Manila.
No, thank you for having me on the show, Cathy.
Right, so how do we stack up? All the Philippine companies out there, legacy companies, how do we stack up against the region when it comes to the siloed dark businesses?
It's a really interesting question because every business, no matter where they are across the APAC region, are in a different point along their journey. And legacy systems, to your point, data silos, application sprawl, they're all challenges along their journey to digital transformation.
Digital transformation, very important phrase there for the legacy companies. How have they done so far? Because as it would appear, a lot moved in different directions, but didn't really achieve what it wanted, which was really actionable insights using meaningful data.
Yes, and I think it's a combination of two things. One is technology, choosing the right technology and having a plan to implement that to fruition. And the other is a people issue as well. There's always resistance to change within the business, and businesses change. We're seeing the pace of change accelerate in this new world of AI as well.
So do we blame the people?
No, we don't blame the people, but it's a matter of understanding, you know, what makes sense for your business. What is the low-hanging fruit that you can achieve an outcome from and prove that return back to the C-suite and the board? Because the pressure can be immense on delivering new innovative products and driving new revenue streams for your business.
I guess in this movement towards another enabler in technology, an AI-enabled digital transformation would be no escape for actionable insights. It's just got to happen. But to what extent can Philippine companies actually do it? Are we ready for AI-enabled digital or business transformation?
They are. Every business is, but first they have to lay a digital foundation for enabling AI, because we've all heard stories over the last couple of years about AI hallucinating, providing the wrong outcomes. And so by taking a step back, looking at your organisation, understanding not only the data quality, but the data liquidity, how can we connect systems in our organisation together to provide AI with the right data at the right time to provide the right actionable outcome?
Yeah, those hallucinations, pretty scary. So is there going to be a kill switch in that transformation?
Well,
I mean, with the AI policy that we're seeing come forth, or the lack thereof in the US, it seems that the onus is on the companies, the tech companies themselves, to protect their clients.
Yes, so I think there's two things there. We see, as you say, not as much regulation, but we see a lot of frameworks and roadmaps coming out of local government, including the Philippine government. And for a business, as long as you're sticking to principles like accountability, fairness, data minimization, security, etc., you're setting yourself up for a plan to be able to use these agents ethically. But also, to your point, governance is a key word. As 2025 moves on, we're going to see enterprises and even SMEs use more and more AI agents. So how does a business understand what agents do they have running, what data they've got access to, and what outcomes are they producing?
Yeah, that's a North Star, making meaningful data work productively for people.
It is.
Thank you so much, David.
No
really
problem.
appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
And David Arecki of Boomi there joining us live. And coming up here on Money Talks, an all-female cast in staging internationally acclaimed plays here in Manila. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. SB New Energy Corp shares rise as much as over 10% after announcing plans for a backdoor listing of its renewable assets under Meralco. The stock hit 1.27 pesos before closing at 125 pesos to nearly 9%, valuing the company at nearly 63 billion pesos. Meralco's unit MGen Renewable Energy will list and transfer assets through SB-NEC. Earlier on, I spoke exclusively to SB New Corp CEO Leon Deviste, who reiterated steps are underway to inject M-Green assets to SB-NEC. Deviste also told me Meralco has chosen SB-NEC to be its platform for future renewable energy projects. Analysts say this aligns with SB-NEC's role in Meralco's future solar projects, including the Terra Solar project, which earlier received funding commitments from global fund Actis. Once completed in 2027, it will be the world's largest solar and battery facility. And SPNEX shares continuing their rally up 1.6% in the first 50 minutes of trading. Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation posted a record income in 2024 driven by growth in its power, water, and toll roads business. Mobile journalist Aimee Atienza reports on the details in the company's earnings and future outlook.
Conglomerate Metro Pacific Investments Corporation achieved a record of over 23 billion pesos consolidated core net income for 2024, up by 21% from the previous year. There is also a 16% increase in contribution from operations to a highest ever 28.4 billion pesos. Among the company's core businesses, power gave the largest share at 19.7 billion pesos or 69% of net operating income, which is 29% higher than the previous year. Moreover, toll roads and water contributed over 6 billion pesos each, representing 44% of NOI. With the increase, MPIC's Chief Financial Officer Che Cabal Revilla shared their goal for 2025.
For 2025 core income budget, our target is also double digit, but not on the low double digit target.
Meanwhile, Metro Pacific Health shared their success in the last 2 years, wherein they sealed 4 transactions among hospitals.
So the last 2 years was rather good, where we made 4 transactions in 2023 and 2024. Hoping we can do the same, if not more, for this year.
Metro Pacific AgriVentures reached a milestone in 2024 by acquiring 100% of the Universal Harvester Dairy Farms in Bukidnon to focus on fresh milk production for Visayas and Mindanao.
There are a lot more flavored drinks in the pipeline, as well as cheese, yogurt, creams, butter, and that is consistent with our strategy by 2027. Carmen Special will become a dairy master brand, which means we will be present in all dairy products.
The 2024 financial media briefing with MPIC's core companies was held at the Rockwell Business Center on Wednesday, March 12th. Mobile journalist Aimee Atienza, we are One News.
PLDT has completed cable laying for the Apricot cable system branches in Baler, Aurora, and Digos, Davao. The telecommunications provider says this strengthens the country's digital infrastructure and meets growing data demands. The 12,000-kilometer Apricot cable can handle over 211 terabits per second of data. It connects Singapore to Japan via the Pacific, with branches in the Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, and Guam. PLDT says Apricot will increase its capacity by 33% to over 140 Tbps. PLDT Senior Vice President Jojo Hendrano says this investment supports 5G and AI, which elevate digital experiences for enterprises and consumers. In honor of Women's Month, we shine our light on an all-Filipino team working to bring world-class live shows to the Philippines. Philippine-based GMG Productions is helmed by 11 Filipino women, all facilitating the staging of hit shows such as Miss Saigon, Matilda, and Hamilton, among others, for Filipinos to enjoy. With us now for more is Samantha Sewell, the executive producer of GMG Productions. So good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how did that all happen? 11 women in a team and in one country. Was that the universe conspiring? Or?
It must have been. It totally must have been. It definitely wasn't something we had set out to do, but when we were looking for people for the jobs, the best people just happen to be women.
Right, and in a very stressful job, but very rewarding. It's producing live shows like Hamilton, like Miss Saigon, Matilda. What are the dynamics like? Because each of you has functions that are way different from each other. So you support each other like you were hands to or fingers to a hand.
Definitely. We're a team of 11 very strong, amazing women, as you see in the picture there. And we are comprised by a group working on everything from kind of HR and admin to the physical production. So the technical side of things, we're also all women.
All right, but your big bosses are men.
Yes,
and
they
they're
are.
in the UK, so
Yes.
there's like a time difference there and also a gender difference. So what's the dynamic like working across time zones and also in a very diverse way? It's all women in the Philippines and all men in the UK.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. Of course, our male superiors, I guess, upper management team are very supportive, and they're so great at championing us women here in the Philippines and really giving us a lot of free reign and independence in the way that we like to run things, or at least I hope so. And of course, the time difference is very difficult, but aside from setting our watches and holding meetings kind of more in the evenings than the mornings, it's all very manageable. I think especially in this kind of post-pandemic world where it's so easy to meet virtually, it's really something that we've just gotten used to.
Post-pandemic ticket sales,
Yes.
have those improved in a big way?
Yeah.
Because a lot we're saying if there is travel resurgence, there should also be a resurgence in like live shows.
We're very much seeing that. I think there's still kind of that revenge watching, I guess you could call it. I think in the pandemic, people really missed that idea of being able to experience things communally and together. And live entertainment, there's really just nothing that can replace that.
So has it exceeded pre-pandemic ticket sales? Or is that yet to be achieved this year?
It feels like it definitely has. I think we've had some kind of powerhouse titles come in with Hamilton, Miss Saigon, and Six most recently. And they've just been some of our biggest titles and some of our longest season runs we've ever had, pre-pandemic times included. So our audiences are really excited to get back, and they're really kind of putting their money where their mouth is and buying the tickets to more of our shows.
And the jury's still out. You've got 2 more shows to mount this year, and
Yes, we
it's
do.
Come From Away, which happens in June, and Burn the Floor.
Yes, yeah.
In July.
Yes. So we're really looking forward to those 2 shows. Come From Away in particular is our first time producing with an all-star cast from the Philippines. It's a first-time endeavor for us, but we're so excited. We've assembled an incredible pool of talent, all from here. So I really hope people will come and watch that. And then, of course, Burn the Floor, which is the Broadway and West End ballroom sensation. If people are familiar with Strictly Come Dancing or those kind of ballroom TV shows, a lot of the alumni have started their careers at Burn the Floor.
Would you be opening your mind to hiring maybe men?
Of course, always. I don't think we would discriminate at all. We've just ended up with this incredible, dynamic, all-female team, but everyone's welcome to come and work for GMGP.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam. And all the best of the 2 shows that
Thank
you've
you
got
so
well
much,
ahead
Cathy.
of you this year. That was Samantha Sewell of GMG Productions joining us. And that is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again Monday at 9:30 a.m. here on One News. We're also streamed live on YouTube and on our Facebook channels. If you haven't done so, like and follow my social media pages. Have a great weekend ahead. I'll see you Monday.